And we're live. Welcome to the Come Cook With Me show. My name is LauraJHall, and we come live to you every Friday. We're on time. I'm so excited. So it's been so chaotic. So welcome to my kitchen. Welcome to the new video. And I'm gonna look down a little bit here just to see if there are any, that the camera lens doesn't move. I think I've set it up correctly. I did some practicing. Those of you who commented when I was practicing, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. So today we are going to be making an incredible dish. You're going to love it. So last year we made a fat flush soup. So it was really a fat burning soup. You know, it took more calories to burn to eat it. Well, this one's very similar in style. It's a Mexican cabbage soup. It's a brand new recipe that I've just created in the kitchen today. And I'm really, really excited about it. So some of it's going to be way too spicy for you all, and that's okay. So the beauty of this particular recipe, just like the fat flush soup when I made it last year, what the beauty of this particular recipe is, it is very versatile. You can include things, you can exclude things. You know, I've given you a wealth in the recipe, which I can't post until after I'm done videoing. But I will have it, so when you hit the share button, I will have it, and I'll go in, and if you share it during the videotaping, that is perfectly fine. Oh, I need to make sure, I am hoping. So if anyone can tell me, oh yeah, there is one person, thank you, I had to check it. There is one person watching. Great. So, it gives me some signals, but I'm sorry. The new camera is getting me a little sidetracked, so let's get back to what we're doing, which is cooking this incredible recipe. So if you purchase all the ingredients, let me just go ahead and tell you what you're going to want to start off doing is get your pot set for saute. And I'm going to go ahead and heat these up right now and get those set to saute. So I've got the first one. The first one is an Instant Pot. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the start button for that to go ahead and saute. And then I need to push this one back just a smidgen so I can get to it. And I'm going to hit the saute feature here. And it's going to get started and heat up. So in the bottom of my multiple pressure cookers, what I'm going to do is I have the Mealthy Multipot and I have the Instant Pot. So I'm going to go ahead and coat the bottom of it with our avocado oil, because we're going to do some sauteing of the celery, peppers, and carrots, and just the things that we want to get a little bit of translucence, and peppers. So what I use a cold pressed avocado oil. What I love about this is it's non-GMO, it's cold pressed, it's really healthy, it's a great oil. This is a Chosen Foods. And I know you can't read them, so I'm going to go a little bit further so you can actually take a look and zoom in. There, that should be good. All right, so we coated the bottom of this. So while it's heating up, I'll talk a little bit about the show. So we come live every Friday, and we'd love to do this recipe where, when the history of the show kind of started, we've been filming shows for almost a year and a half now. I mean, a year and 4 months at least. So when we started, we always compared my recipes with, when I found this pressure cooker, we compared the recipes, my recipe with the pressure cooker and the science behind the pressure cooker and the traditional way that I cooked when my kids were growing up. And that is with the CrockPot slow cooker. And so we just kept that tradition on. And then I was recently introduced to the Mealthy Multipot, and I'm crazy in love with it. So now I'm comparing the recipes. We're doing all three pots. So we do the Instant Pot that I had really gotten started with, and then we do the Mealthy Multipot. Oh, I guess I didn't hit start. Sorry. I just noticed it turned off. So hang on, saute. Oh, wait. I think we just had a fuse go out. 1 second. I may need to... Oh, we did. Okay. So I'm going to unplug this guy. Hold on 1 second. I've got a couple of things plugged in these chargers. I apologize, but they have both gone out on me. That's good to know. So I'm going to hit that saute feature again. Hold on one moment. Start and hit the saute feature here. And it's going to get started. Okay, sorry about that. So I just had a fuse blow up. So anyway, we do all 3 pots now. We just started this when I was introduced to the Mealthy Multipot. And I love it. I absolutely love it. What I've found so far is that the flavors really, for high intensity purposes, pretty much are the same. You know, the slow cooker, if you've looked and watched the shows before, if you've followed me for a while, you know that sometimes the slow cooker wins out. And it's just amazing how the science of what we're cooking, the elements and how we actually do it. But what I found the last couple of times when they used the Mealthy pot actually got to pressure higher, faster, higher temperature faster. So there's some nuances, but I'm so new to it, I can't really tell you which one I absolutely love the most. What I love is that we have really fantastic pressure cookers that can cook meals in minutes compared to you know, the slow cooker, which was an all-day affair, and you had to plan and prepare, and you had to make sure you had your stuff. You could start off with a frozen piece of meat and just have an incredible meal within 20 minutes. So I think for those people who are just fast, you know, running hard, they're working, maybe they're moms and they're taking their kids everywhere, they're volunteering, just not enough time in the day. Well, that's what the pressure cookers are all about. And I know my kids, you know, that was a big thing, that they all got pressure cookers. And now they're sending me recipes and showing me what they're doing. So I'm just absolutely in love with it. So that's really my whole thing. And so I love coming to you live. And normally we do a drawing. And last week's show, I didn't get a chance to go through the random generator. So I will announce that in an additional video and add it to this particular video in the feed. The other thing that is new is people are used to seeing me come live and the recipe will be in the actual post. Well, right now, the way that this particular camera is working, it doesn't allow me to do that. So after the show is over, I will post the entire recipe so you have it and you have all of the varieties of the way that we are cooking this. Now, I have a huge group of people who love vegan, so we'll talk through the vegan options that we have created for this particular recipe. But that, again, that's what I love, how versatile this recipe is. Now, I'm just looking over here at the Mealthy pot, and it says it's hot, it's ready to go. And it's still heating up on the Instapot. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started with the saute feature because we wanna get started cooking. And the other thing is, make sure you share this video. If you haven't shared it before, please share them because we are giving away that if you share this, you'll be entered to win the Mealthy pot. Now, we were supposed to do that this week, but I never got the Mealthy pot because we ended up, craziness happened. You know, we had a hurricane and we were doing hurricane preparedness, and then I forgot to get online to make sure that I had it. So we're gonna lump all those people who shared last week, all the people who shared this week, and we're gonna enter them into, that's who's gonna be in the drawing for next week. So if you shared last week, we got your names. If you share this week, you're going to be added in and you're going to get a chance to win. So let's go ahead and get started cooking. I'm going to grab my spoon over here. And I love how the crock pot is nearly done. So I'm just going to take, I've got some red onion, yellow onion, I've got celery, I've got some carrots, and I have some parsnips that are already chopped up and ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and plug those in. Oh, just love that. Just beautiful. I'm going to leave some of them because that pot is super beautifully hot. Just great. That's going to cook up. We're going to get those cooking to translucency. I'm going to add the garlic in as well. So I've got about 15 cloves of what I love to do is roast our garlic. It just gives such a beautiful, intense flavor. So we've chopped up the garlic and we've roasted it. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in and just let those flavors get together with the sauteing of this, guys. Beautiful. And then I'm going to grab the other one. Same contents going into each of the pots. Make sure I get those onions in. I like the onions to go in with that celery. All right, I'm going to stir that around as well. All right, grab my garlic. I love adding parsnips now that it's starting to get to be fall time. I love adding parsnips to all of our recipes, just so beautiful. So let me talk about the other ingredients that we're going to add right now while it's sauteing. I've chopped up 3 poblano peppers and 2 jalapeno peppers. When I say spice, this is where a lot of spice is going to come from, in addition to some of the spices that I picked out. So if you're not a fan of having too much heat, you may not want to have all of this in it. But this is just one of those really super crazy awesome soups that when you have all of these flavors and ingredients mixed together, it's powerful. It makes a powerful punch. So you may not want to use as many. Or maybe you opt out and take the jalapeno out. Either way, it's perfectly fine. We're going to go ahead and add all of that in, because I know that those poblanos are going to put some fire to our belly. The jalapeno is going to put some fire to our belly. And I'm going to add it over here as well to the other one. We've had so many people here helping us at the house. We just moved into this house. This is the second time we're cooking in this kitchen. And last week, we had so many great people give us feedback who follow the show on a regular basis. And they're saying, well, we couldn't see you, so I invested in a much better camera. And I'm working on the settings, so if there's something that you have as far as helping me improve, I always strive to be better and better every single day. So please feel free to provide additional comments. Hopefully the sound is good. There is another sound option that I can add, but I'm hoping that this should do it. So the other thing that I've got here as far as peppers, they're chipotles in adobo sauce. And so you don't need too many of these because this is a very strong flavor. So what I've done is I've taken 2 peppers, I've chopped them up, and I've got the adobo sauce right there. So I'm going to add that in. Again, this gives a smoky flavor of peppers to the poblanos, and many times when I cook poblanos, I really like to roast them with the garlic because it takes the heat out, the really hotness, but it also the textures and the complexity are so wonderful. But I think when we heat this to a high temperature, I really didn't want to do that and lose kind of the element of being able to bite into the poblano. So I didn't do it this time as far as make them smoked. All right. So you'll have to tell me, before when I had the camera too close, when I was using my iPhone, I had people say, oh, there's too much banging, so they didn't like all the commotion. So you'll have to tell me how that sound is actually sounding. This is great. So we're going to saute this for just a few more minutes. So if this is your first time to the show, welcome. Just want to say hello. And if you've been following me for a while, I want to say thank you so much. I so appreciate all of the wonderful people who have been with me and making great comments and telling me. So many of you have switched to becoming a vegan. So many of you have, oh goodness gracious, Brad, I keep having a timeout on my, I'm popping up views here. I'm going to have to do something about it. It keeps popping on me. This does, so we have to maybe get a new one. I'm going to hit saute again, which is okay. Start. Sorry about that, everybody. Saute. I didn't expect that to happen at all in my taping. It's never happened before, but I have a way around it, so I'm not worried. In fact, I know exactly how I'll get around it when I get started when I cook these. So we'll go ahead and keep going. So what we're going to do is wait till these get a little bit translucent, and go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients. That's how easy this recipe is. So what I was saying before I cut off is that so many of you have now kind of started going vegan, or you're doing and I'm not vegan. I actually, there we go. Okay, so we're going to change this right now. So give me one moment. I'm going to change how these guys are plugged in. And make this little bit of correction. Please bear with me. I so appreciate you. This is not going to happen again. And there we go. Okay. That is not happening again. Here we go. Last time. I so apologize. And thank you for your grace and patience, everyone. All right. Not going to happen again. So we also do a seasonal shake that if you say hello, who you are, where you're from in our community, you'll get entered to win the seasonal shake. And we just announced yesterday 2 seasonal shakes that are my all-time favorite, pumpkin spice and mocha. So if you just say hello, who you are, where you're from, you get entered to win. And again, like I said, I'll do another drawing with all the people who make comments, because we had so many comments last week. That's the prize of what you're going to be able to win as well for the comments. And so I'll go ahead and do that as well. I'll do that and show it at the end. And I have a feeling that's kind of what we're going to start to do anyway, because a lot of people where these videos get shared, they don't like to have drawings, and I love to do it because that's part of our community and we've just done it forever. So we'll go ahead and do that post-show, and then that way more places can actually see these incredible videos. All right, so these are ready to go. We're going to go ahead and finish off this particular recipe. You're going to love it. So let me go ahead and get my glasses back on. So last week we made some beautiful beans, black beans, and I actually will have the recipe that we posted with the black beans. But I also like using a little bit of black bean and white bean, so I used a white kidney bean, canelli bean. This is the can that I usually buy from if I'm not going to cook my beans directly. But what I love about this Eden canelli white kidney beans is that there's no salt added. They're completely organic, non-GMO, and look for this label. It says, let me make sure you can see it. Right there, the red label, it says non-PBA. So PBA is bisphenol A, and we love to cook with products that are organic, that they're non-GMO, and that if you're using a canned product, that there's no bisphenol A. Bisphenol A is the plastic lining that manufacturers will put into the cans, and that's just an endocrine disruptor. It's a carcinogen into our body. And you know, I'm a health coach, and when I teach people how to cleanse, we teach them how to cleanse and take toxins out. We don't want to take toxins out and then have toxins come into our body. So it's just really pretty simple when you think about it. But many times people don't even think about it because there's not a lot of manufacturers yet still that are starting to create products that are non-PBA with non-PBA linings. So we're going to go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients in. So we're going to add in our beans. And there's about a cup of black beans here. There's almost a full can of the white beans. I'm not going to put all of them in because I don't have my larger Instapot, so I don't want to have them so full that all the ingredients aren't going to be added. So if I need to add more, I can add more in. But I had these beans left over from last week's show, and I've been eating them because I just made a ginormous amount. And they're so delicious that I thought, well, since this recipe I would have made with a white bean, I thought, let's add a little bit of both in. So great. So in here we have some butternut squash, and I've got some okra that's been chopped up. So we're going to go ahead and add that in. Beautiful. Then I'll reserve that one in case we want to add more. So good. Okay. Perfect. All right, it's time to get some liquid in here. So we're going to go ahead and add one of our broths in. Let me tell you, this recipe, like I said, is so versatile. It can be a vegan recipe, and it can be slightly not vegan, but really vegan friendly. So I love to use a great broth. There's 2 broths that I recommend. If you're strictly vegan and you don't want to have any other products but making sure that you're vegetarian vegan, you'll go ahead and grab this low sodium Pacific vegetable broth. And this is a wonderful brand. I absolutely am in love with Pacific. I think they do a great job. But we're doing this, I'm cooking for a wealth of people, and I'm not gonna go ahead and do the complete vegan. So I'm gonna use a bone broth, and bone broth is just so wonderful for your gut health. And again, I use a Pacific brand, and they've come out with even a better version than they did before. So it has a lot less sodium. This is so wonderful. I love the fact that they did a little bit of different changes in their product. So wonderful. So we're going to start off with one box each in each of the pots. And once your sauteing is complete, you can just go ahead and click it off. And I look for the vegetables that we add in the very beginning. I look for them to be a little bit translucent. That's really what I'm looking for. These didn't get quite as translucent as I wish, but I wanted to get on with the cooking because I know a lot of people who they're time sensitive and they really want to see, well, let's see the whole recipe so I can see if it is something I want to start to make. So that's what we're doing. Now, the other thing we're going to add in are some fire roasted diced tomatoes. I love the Glen because they're organic, they're non-GMO, and bisphenol, there's non-PVA lining in this brand. One of my absolute favorite brands. If you can't find this, and it's a great substitute, like I call for a cup of my actual salsa. Well, if you have my salsa, you can actually skip doing the fire roasted tomatoes. And I have my salsa over here, right here. I am gonna save this because when I actually serve it, we're gonna actually serve it with a little bit of fresh salsa in the bowl. So, if you didn't have a whole bunch of salsa already made up, you can get a jar of variety. And I have a couple of varieties here. I have this gourmet salsa, naturally hot. You can get it mild, you can get it, you can get it medium. And then I found in my local farmer's market, I found this 5 Amigos fire roasted pepper salsa. And I also found this chili relleno salsa. What I look for when I decide to purchase any one of these, if I'm not making my own salsa, I'm looking for the least amount of ingredients, things that say that they're the most fresh. They specifically say what's in here. So for example, this one has poblano pepper, serenata, jalapeno, cayenne, bell pepper, onion, garlic, extra virgin olive oil, lemon juice, and salt. Wonderful, so clean, such a great product. This one was at the grocery store, and this one has, again, same kind of ingredients. Lemon juice is the concentrate, vinegar. That's what they're doing to protect the product. Now granted, once you open it, it's not gonna, you're gonna wanna use it because that's not gonna sit well in the refrigerator very long, maybe 2-3 days. So, but I did open them, so I'm gonna go ahead and sneak a little bit of both into each one because I just really wanna see how these smell and how they taste. So I'm gonna have some guests over tonight. And I need to rinse that off because I got it a little messy. Probably should have used a spoon to get it out. Do the same here. Okay. So we'll see how we love that. Okay. Now you're going to want to get 1 cup of red wine, and it's okay if you do like 3/4 of a cup. Looking for my cup, measuring cup. It's okay. I know how much I can add in. So about 1 cup of red wine. It doesn't really matter which red wine. This is something that I had left over from a meal, and so we're just using it. And then we're going to grab our lentils. We're going to add some lentils into our recipe. We want to use a 1/4 cup of the multi-trio and a 1/3 of a cup of the other. So there we go. So we use the Bob's Red Hill red lentils. I love this particular brand. If you don't know anything about Bob's Red Mill, you should do a little bit of a Google on it because he has an amazing company. Great story of his company. And it's an employee-owned company, which I absolutely adore. I love I love it when a person who's created something shares the wealth with everybody. Just such a great way of life, of giving back. All right, so we got those lentils added. Beautiful. Okay, now the next part of this recipe is our cabbage. And so what I've got is a green cabbage, and I've got like a red cabbage, and I've chopped it up, and we're going to go ahead and add that in. And that's as much as I'm going to get in that one. And I'll add that into the other pot as well. And that's pretty full as well. Okay, so what's nice about this soup is that cabbage is going to cook down, so when you actually finish the cooking piece of it, you can turn your pot off or do the quick release, and you can put it back onto saute, and you can actually add a little bit more vegetables. And that's one of the things that I'm going to do now after I get some kale in here. I'm going to add a little bit of kale, and I'm going to not add the spinach. I have some spinach, but I'm going to add the spinach very end after, right before I'm ready to get started to serve. I'll put it on saute, and it'll be just incredible. But I definitely want to get some kale into this, and I know I need to add just a smidgen more liquid. Such a great recipe. I just wish there was smell-o-vision because it's just so great. So the last thing we need to do is do our spices. So we're ready to go ahead and add our spices. I have some liquid aminos. I'm going to do about a 1/4 cup in each of the pots. I like the coconut liquid aminos. It's like a soy sauce. But it takes out all of the bad things of what soy does to our bodies. So I love this particular brand. It's a coconut secret amino acids. So I'll just show that up. The other thing I had was a great feedback from one of our listeners who's a new viewer. She's probably been around 4 months, and she gave me a great idea. And after she gave me the idea, somebody else gave me the idea. So what I've done is I've taken pictures of all of the ingredients as well as the spices. So I'll add that into the comments section as well when we're all finished. Time to add the spices. Now, I give you, in the recipe, I give you an estimated amount, but this is when you're cooking, this is the way that you get to add your seasoning. So I don't actually measure the seasons. I know that drives some people crazy, but that's okay because that's the way I like to cook. All right, so the first ingredient that we're going to add is some organic cumin. What's neat about this particular camera is when I have somebody who can be a boom person, they can actually sit and zoom in when I get to the spice section. So I absolutely love that. We'll eventually get to this. And then we have the herbs of the Provence, or you can also use Italian seasoning, either one. And again, don't get concerned about me not holding the spices up to everyone. I'm going to show you a picture of them. So we'll solve that issue. All right, so we have some crushed black pepper. I'm going to add that in. And we have some Japanese 7 spice. Now, this one was so hard to find in my new Publix, but I just found it in a different Publix. I went to it, so I thought, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I'll have to have my girlfriend Melissa send me the Japanese 7 spice or stock up on it when I go back to St. Augustine. And then we have some organic smoked paprika. Just a little bit of that. And we have some Cajun seasoning. Again, we're getting to the spice now, so you're gonna wanna make sure that these spices are something that your family can have. If you recall, last week, my daughter was here, and I couldn't make it spicy. So when I gave some of my soup to my neighbor that we made a minestrone soup, she's like, well, I had to put a little spice into it. And normally it's like, well, okay, sister, that's because my daughter was here and we needed to cook it with low spice because she loves that soup. And Brad, someone's at the door if you could get it. She loves that soup, and I had to, she loved it, so I wanted to make it the way she would love it. And that was crushed chipotle pepper. Now we have some sriracha. Sriracha is such a wonderful spice. I love it in my soups. It's so beautiful. We still have some workers here, so that's the kind of the interruptions that we're seeing. And then we have some ancho chili pepper. This packs a powerful punch, so be careful. And then the last thing we're going to add as far as these particular spices are bay leaves. And then we have 2 more seasonings that I'm going to put in. So put a couple bay leaves in. Beautiful. And the last 2 seasonings that I love to put in every recipe and every vegetable that I ever cook are my teammate. His name is Dan Oliver. He has created these incredible spices out of Kentucky, and they're Louisville proud. So they're Kentucky proud, not Louisville. Sorry, Dan. Kentucky proud, and he makes 2 of them. And I always give away some of these spices, so we'll go ahead and do that. I'll do that in another video. But what I love about these spices, they're so great because they're low sodium, big flavor, zero calories, no MSG, no GMOs. I mean, he has done an outstanding job. So this is a little more spicy, this is a little more savory, but just incredible spices. Those of you who are watching and can say how much they love Dano's spices, please chime in because those of you who have been hooked onto them, there'll be a link added to this feed, into this post, how to actually buy them. You can buy them online, which is so great that Dano has provided them not just for the stores in Kentucky, but you can buy them online. Okay, that is definitely going to need a little bit more liquid in the Instant Pot. So let me open up one more container. I won't need to put it all in, but we'll go ahead and just put a little bit more in so that those vegetables get cooked nicely. All right, we are almost ready to plate. I'm just going to put a little bit, or not to plate, but to get those started, I'm just going to go ahead and put in some kale. I'm not going to put all my kale in because last time when we had the kale in last week, we really should have waited to add the kale to the very end. And if you are cooking this recipe in the slow cooker, don't add your kale, don't add your cabbage until an hour out, because otherwise it'll be just cooked down too much. So we'll, at the end of cooking, we'll do pressure release, just a natural steam release for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then after that, we'll get it on a hot saute. And we'll add in the spinach, and we'll add in a little more kale. And if we feel like we need to add in a little bit more cabbage, we'll go ahead and do it then. And so those of you who are going to be eating live with us, you'll be able to have just an incredible crunch and beautiful fresh kale added and cabbage right into your dish. You're going to just absolutely love it. Okay, so we're ready to put the tops on. And we're going to cook this on for 7 minutes. We'll go ahead and set it for manual, and you'll cook it for 7 minutes. So remember, it takes a little bit of time to pressurize, and then once it pressurizes, it cooks for 7 minutes, and then you can do a quick release. I don't recommend doing a quick release. Let it sit for about, like I said, 2 to 5 minutes. Then you can do a quick release if you're ready to eat. If not, it's really great that it can just sit there so that continue just to stay warm. And then when you're ready to serve, you hit that, release the rest of the steam, and you'll hit that saute feature and add in those last few elements. I'll take pictures of it as well so you can see how it all has come together. And we'll have just an incredible, beautiful recipe. Just a wonderful meal tonight. So the final thing that I have over in that Instant Pot is for those of you who love to have some pulled chicken added to their soup. And this is going to be freezing well, so I'm going to add a little bit of pulled chicken to some of them and some of them not. So it's pulled chicken breast. I have the recipe also identified. We're not going to go ahead and pull those out and show you how to do it. I'll just take some pictures and you'll be able to see it in the video feed. So I'm going to go ahead and put these tops on. You want to line it up so you hear that wonderful sound. That means it's locked. You want to make sure the pressure is turned off. And like I said, I'm going to hit it to manual, so I'm going to go ahead and pressure cook. Pressure cook, and I want to set it to 7 minutes. And hit start. I'm going to do the same thing for this. And hit pressure cook. Grab this lid. And this is the Mealthy Pot. So you can see it's very similar lid style. Slightly different. And I'm going to hit pressure cook. And I want to get it down to 7 minutes. Beautiful. All right. So I'll take pictures while this is cooking, and so you can see all of the action steps that we take. I want to thank everybody for joining me on the show. Remember, if you say hello, who you are, where you're from, that's just really part of our community. So I'd love to hear everyone chatting. We've got some people who've made some great friends over the years, or the year and a half that we've been live with you. If you've missed any of the shows that we have made, you can always go to my YouTube channel. We upload those to my YouTube every time we finish a show. We upload it to my YouTube channel, which is Lifestyle by LauraJ. So just go to YouTube, click in Lifestyle by LauraJ, just type that in your search menu, and you'll see all of our recipes. You'll see that as we started in the very beginning, some of them were, we've gotten better. And now with this new camera, I'm sure it'll go a lot more smooth as I continue to get better at making sure everything is set up. And we won't have that malfunction where we kept losing power. So I apologize for that. Thank you all for your grace for that. And if you hit that share button and share this recipe, you'll get entered to win all of the wonderful things. But just saying hello, who you are, where you're from, that's getting the Dano spices. That's a chance to win those. And I love doing that, love sharing that with everybody. So I hope that you have an incredible, wonderful weekend. Those of you who survived the last hurricane with us, we just moved here to this community, and of course we had a tropical storm. I don't think it really turned into hurricane category, although some places in our area did get category strength winds, but we really are, we're very blessed and very lucky. So it's that type of time of season right now, so everyone stay safe. Have an incredible, wonderful, blessed weekend, and we'll see you next week on the show. And don't forget, we're usually live every Wednesday at the grocery store, so you can see what the ingredients are for the next week's show. And the month of September, we're doing soups galore, so I cannot wait to figure out the soup. I have an idea of what soup we're going to start with next week. So anyway, have a wonderful day. I have to end the video this way, so I apologize. I'm looking down. So I'm going to swipe it. Have a great weekend, everybody.